everything should point back to your vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so space speak to my vision.
Yeah.
Does the way I've structured my service speak to the vision?
Yeah.
Does it enhance? Does it inhibit?
Mhm.
All right. Does my volunteers speak my vision? Again, everything speaks.
Yeah.
And so strategic about every little piece. What's in your hand might not work in my hand, right? The staff that you have might not work for me.
All right.
And so what resources do you have? What people do you have? What facility do you have?
Yes.
Is there room for growth there?
Yeah.
Do we need to think creatively on how we can make some of this stuff happen?
Yeah.
Shift this. We can turn this.
Because sometimes today it feels like a light show, camera show.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Turn Up with Pastor Charlie. First of all, we would like to say thank you to the River Radio Podcast Studio for their space that we occupy. To our visionary, Bert and Stephanie Lindsay and the Lindsay Foundation, all of our partners, local churches, schools, 501c3, and the nonprofit organizations that help move this movement called T.U.R.N. Today, I am in the studio. I'm so excited about my guests. I'm always excited about my guests, but this one in particular, Dr. George Fultz, Dr. George Fultz II. I want to make sure I say the second.
Yes.
Because I'm a junior. I use the junior term, but I know you use the second, which is good. He is a pastor, leadership ministry consultant, and an author of a new release book called YouthMac. Welcome to the podcast show, Pastor George. How are you, sir?
And I'm amazing. Let me first just say thank you for letting me come on and to hang out with the man just for a few minutes today. It certainly is a privilege and an honor.
Man, it's great to have you here. I'm so proud of what you're doing. Excited for you. I'm excited about your futures. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I just kind of said a little snippet, but tell something about yourself and your bio that the people may not know, that you want them to know.
If the people don't know, oh man, I've had such an amazing ministry journey over the last 15, 20 years and really been able to serve under some really great generals, when it comes to the church, under Bishop Clark here in Columbus and Pastor Andy Thompson in Durham, North Carolina. But I think one of my greatest ministry experiences that's not necessarily in the Bible is me being able to go and spend 6 months and live amongst Ugandan priests.
Okay.
And the students there and do some teaching.
Yeah.
Just really embedding myself in the culture. It really gave me more of a globalized picture of what it meant to do ministry and just opened my eyes in a number of different ways. And so
That's great. That's awesome.
so much so that I got a whole Ugandan name. They taught you well, didn't they? Yeah, man, it was a good time. But that's something outside of my typical bio that you might not necessarily see.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. A friend of mine is from Ghana. I was able to actually go over there with him for 17 days. So that was my experience. So, hey, it's a different world over there.
Very much.
But their heart really chases after the Lord. So I mean, they can teach us a lot of things. So I know that was my great experience with them. So
Man, I remember the first day that I got there. Maybe it might have been like the second day. There was a big event called Uganda Martyrs Day, where these Catholic priests would have a service at this lake where these priests had gotten martyred almost 100 years ago. And people were literally walking from other countries, not cities, not
villages,
not the villages. They were walking with bins of water or, pails that they could fill up with water in this lake because they believed that this lake had healing power.
Wow.
And so and the amazing thing about that is, we can't get people to come out to the church in the rain.
No.
They're coming to get a drink of water because they believe that this lake had healing power.
Wow.
When the water over there could actually kill you. And so the level of faith and the belief and the hunger in God, man, it blew my.
Wow. Yes, sir. It is an awesome experience over there. It is definitely life changing. So, so tell us, what inspired you to write this YouthMac book?
Well, one of the things that really inspired me is I saw this huge gap between theory and practice.
Okay.
right? There were a lot of leadership books surrounding youth ministry,
Yeah.
with a lot of theories about how to do it.
Hmm.
But when it came time to putting that stuff into practice,
Yeah. Yeah.
putting it to good use,
Yeah.
and putting it to use in your particular context, it wasn't all that applicable. And so one of the things that I desired was to create and establish and to write content that can be used within any context,
Yeah.
any church, with any particular demographical situation. So that was part of the reason why I wrote YouthMac, the blueprint for transformative youth.
Wow. So share with us a pivot moment in your own ministry that made you realize this book was needed. It's like, okay, I gotta do this.
Yeah, it's probably about 10 years ago. I had just taken over the youth ministry at First Church of God. And one of the things I was endeavoring to do was to create a youth ministry that was really, really strong when it came to their music.
Okay.
I had come from a church in North Carolina where we dropped a live album in our youth service.
Okay. All right.
And so I wanted to try to establish that kind of culture here. And it was very challenging to get guys to lift their hands and for the kids to participate in the worship experience. And then I saw this video on YouTube where some kids at the church, they were singing a song about McDonald's, Big Mac, fried chicken, and French fries, chicken nuggets, right? It was a sad, churched up,
Oh wow.
song about McDonald's,
Yeah.
something that's not even good for you.
Right.
And I think if McDonald's can get the world to sing, if they can get the kids to sing about something that's not good
for them. Yeah.
why is it that the church cannot get our kids to sing the praises about a good God?
I understand. I hear you. I hear you.
That was the pivotal moment for me. And it was in that moment I said, how can I create a youth ministry sandwich that kids would actually want to eat?
Yes.
That they would actually want to bite out of. And so that was the pivotal moment for me. Looking out at my students being halfway worshiping, having to be coached and primed and pushed just to lift their hands
Yeah.
and sing. They're singing about everything else.
Absolutely.
So what can we do?
At the top of their lungs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what can we do, not just within my particular ministerial context, but around the globe, get our students to say, ba, 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 ba. I'm loving the church. I'm living my youth ministry. Yeah. So that's good. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's good. The book blends research and real life ministry. How did your PhD work shape what's inside?
Well, I think one of the beautiful things about the book is it's not solely based on theory, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I spent 10, 15 years
Well, experience.
some of these concepts to leaders around the country.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have not just my say, not just my perspective.
Yeah.
But I wanted to pull leaders around the country and see what they were doing in different successful youth ministries in Boston and Miami. And so one of the things I did in my research is I went out and interviewed all these leaders. And what are you doing? Just to make sure I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Within your particular context that we can make applicable to everybody else.
Yeah.
And so that's the heart of the PhD research. Same title, YouthMac. And you can find that online. It gives you more detail, more data surrounding effective youth ministry. But I just tied some of those concepts. I changed some of my ideas. Because one of the things I found was that, I had perspectives about how to do ministry, how to do relationships, how to do. And some of it was a bit faulty.
Okay.
I was effective.
Yeah.
But what I found was that there is a large swath of other leaders who are doing just as good, if not better than I am. And they had some different methodologies.
Different way.
Yes. So I incorporated some of that into the book as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I appreciate that. You often have a statement. You says, fun is not the enemy of faith.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, I think many of us, well, I don't want to say many of us, but oftentimes I found I grew up in a church that was strict holiness,
though. Okay, let's talk about that. I can do that. I came out that route too.
You would have the mothers of the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, kids running during children's church.
Take that gum out your mouth.
They're kids, right?
Yeah.
There was a time where going to movies would sing you to hell, right? Hanging in your peers, would sing you to hell. Like everything would send you to hell. And so, I would go to children's church and it wasn't fun. I would dread it.
Wow.
I'd just rather sit upstairs with my mom.
Yeah.
And so I looked at doing ministry through that lens. I wanted to look at it through a dual lens.
Yes.
What would the 10-year-old, what would the 12-year-old, what would the 7-year-old, what would the 15-year-old say as they're sitting in these seats?
Absolutely.
Does this speak to them? Does this minister to them? So when I say fun is not the enemy of of faith, you can incorporate a number of different things that will make your experience 10 times. That's the sandwich.
Yes.
Students, kids now, they require 3 things:
Yes.
food,
Food.
fun,
Yep.
and fellowship.
Yep. Food, fun, and fellowship.
Feed me. Let me have some fun. Let me connect with some people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my goal, okay, let me give you some food. Let me give you some fun. Let me give you some fellowship, and let me slide some faith in the middle of it.
There we go.
And that's the heart of this. That's the heart of the youth. That's the sandwich.
Yes.
The food, the fun, the faith, the fellowship. That's all. That's the special sauce.
Yeah.
That you're putting on your sandwich.
Yes.
To make it digestible.
And it's good for you.
Yes, sir.
And it's good for you. And
It's no different than putting when you're trying to give a dog medicine. You put the medicine inside some food, And so, I just remember sitting in children's church and not being able to stand it. I made up in my mind that I'm going to create an experience where they come and get God, and then have a good.
yes. That's
Get
good.
there.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
That's a well appreciative. You talk about everything speaks. Rooms, teams, programs.
Yes, sir.
How can leaders make that their everything is preaching the right message?
Intentionality.
Okay.
Right? Being intentional about everything that you do.
Yeah.
When you walk inside a particular space, what does that space say? When you're playing music,
Yes.
as they come in, what does that music say?
Yeah.
Right? Are you playing Shirley Caesar
Right.
and Dottie Peoples?
All right. Or
10 and 15-year-olds?
right.
Or are you finding some Lecrae or some Andy Mineo or some people that speak their language, speak their context, right? And so your volunteers speak,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Who you have doing registration makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Who you have doing activities makes a big difference. Who you have teaching makes everything communicates a message. And so because everything communicates a message, it also has a major impact on the culture that you create.
Yeah.
Culture that you set within your particular ministry.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It is definitely needed in today's aspect of things. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing youth ministry today? There's a lot of challenges out there. What are you coming against?
Well, I would say one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest issues that the church has to face as it relates to the next generation is this this thing in their hands, that phone, their iPad, their computer, because they're exposed so much stuff.
Yeah.
And so many of our kids are learning faith on TikTok.
Yeah.
They're learning faith on Instagram.
Yeah.
Or they're learning something altogether different.
Yeah.
And
A portion of the faith.
and the thing that's dangerous is you're taking 10-second sound bites and creating ideologies and theologies and perspectives about God off of a sound bite.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the things that the church needs to do and leaders need to do, and I think I want to be careful how I say this, the pandemic was a blessing and a curse for the church.
Right.
Of course, we mourn all
Sure.
all those that we lost.
Sure.
But it forced the church
To make some decisions.
to make some major decisions
Yeah.
surrounding technology, getting into spaces that if it had not been for the pandemic, they never would have been in.
Yeah.
And so, I think so much so. So I was talking to a friend maybe a week or so ago, and he was saying that their church is having online services, not just online stream. They're having services in the metaverse.
Oh, wow.
And so like people are actually creating emojis and fake characters
Wow.
and going into an alternate world on their computers and sitting and watching their services.
Wow.
There are people actually coming to the services.
Yeah.
And so that's important because now the church is able to reach a demographic of people
That they never have.
that they never would have
Yeah.
reached. Those are the type of people who don't feel comfortable
Yeah.
in spaces. And, some of them may be a little socially awkward, just those kind of, But now the gospel is going to a place that we never would have expected.
Yeah. The pandemic, it gave a clean slate. It allowed people to choose. And this, what I believe happened. Some have chosen to not return.
Yeah.
Some chose to go different locations and left the location they were at. If they was at a church, they went to another location. And then the ones who just say, I'm going to stay home and watch online.
Yep.
And so then we had to get prepared because it's like all the audio equipment and stuff that we had, the cameras we had rolling, but then it's like our media team was not prepared for media.
Yeah.
It's like, how did that happen? And so then, then Facebook, everybody's Facebooking.
Yep.
Facebooking Live, everything. And what I found so interesting is the bigger churches that have the equipment, how the lack of preparation they were, how they was not prepared for media.
So you're saying the churches that had some of the largest churches, they weren't ready?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Think about it. And I don't want to call names per se, but some of the bigger ones in our church, in our city, when pandemic hit, media was not ready for.
Yeah. Yeah. I certainly see that in some respects.
Mhm. They ready now.
Yeah.
But they wasn't when pandemic hit.
One of my mentors said this to me years ago. He said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so that's the position that a lot of our ministries have found themselves.
So yes,
we had this amazing opportunity to capture the hearts and minds and the eyeballs, people around the country, but we didn't want to maximize setting up our ministries
for that.
years ago for that.
Yeah.
And what I have found, and I have argued, is that while there is some data, and I'll talk about this in my research, while there is some data that suggests that there has been somewhat of an exodus in the church.
Yeah.
My argument is not that they left the church. It's just about your church.
Yeah.
Right. Because there are a number of different churches around the country that are doing exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Whether it was a pandemic or whether it's in this pandemic of people leaving the church. There are some that are thriving. Some are dying, others are thriving.
Yeah.
So what are those ones that are thriving doing?
Yeah. Amen.
Show success within their congregation. So that's what I've tried to tap into.
Yeah, and I noticed the increase in our location where we at. We went to 2 services because we're growing.
Wow.
I mean, that was. I'm not gonna say that was never the plan, but it's like, okay, we got to pay attention because we are growing. We are packing out. 350 is 400 is climbing in it's getting crowded.
Wow.
So now we at about 500, 550 2 services.
It's amazing.
So it has increased. So I don't know. That's sidebars. They can do that.
Oh no, it's
Look, I clap and we do our editing. We're there stuff. So let's talk about, how do you balance being culturally relevant while staying spiritually grounded?
I think it's just a matter of seeing it as translation, not compromise.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I so often when I grew up, you be in the world and not of it. Just like I certainly understand that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you can't speak their language,
Yeah.
then you're not going to impact them at all. And so I think a certain part of you has to be embedded in culture enough, at least to where you can translate. It's kind of like now they have these new AirPods out where you can go into certain foreign countries and it automatically translates what you hear. Yeah, yeah. So I think for many of our congregants, not just youth and young adults, they say the average congregant understands the Bible on a second, third grade level.
Mhm.
That's an elementary level.
Yeah, that's
And so while our pastors and our bishops and our leaders are talking about the pneumatological presence of the Holy Spirit and all these big fancy, they have no idea what you're talking about, Mary. And so I think it's just mastering the art of speaking the language and the culture and the themes of that particular time. Um, you're not compromising because you utilize some of their language, or you come up in some skinny jeans and
right.
and a V-neck shirt. I don't think God cares about whether or not you get in a pulpit with a robe or a V-neck, and so I think sometimes we major in the minors.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, growing up in the earlier time frame, it was driven holiness.
Absolutely.
Um, and I grew up in that time frame as well. I remember when your pastor, Bishop Clark, came to Columbus. My father was one of the first bishops in the city, Bishop C.M. Davis, Shady Grove Baptist Church at the time. And um, man, it was like the women had to wear the dresses
Yeah.
down to the ankles. The women didn't wear pants. There was no makeup, the whole 9 yards. Um, but there was so much power though. There was a anointing and a power and presence of God, a reverence of God. And it's not because of what we wore on the outside. It was what was in
Work.
it was inside. It was the work on the inside that did the work. And as we come to realize it didn't matter if my sister wore pants or not, that she was still saved, she was still holy, speaking of one of my personal siblings who has never been to a nightclub, who's never had a drink, who has never, she has that testimony of God kept me versus God delivered me from. She's never been involved in that type of stuff. Well, unfortunately, out of 4 kids, she's only the one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because Charlie can tell the stories of how he brought me out. Thanks you for delivering me. However, but seeing uh, the congregation move collectively by the presence of God, of the reverence of God, it's like we're lacking that in some capacity today. Because sometimes today it feels like a light show, camera show,
Mhm.
and okay, we giving God this much time, and if he don't do it, then it don't happen.
Sure.
So, I mean, I remember the all nights.
Yeah.
It was
Tarrying services.
it was called Terry, waiting for his presence. I remember those nights. I remember those days.
One of one of my mentors, he said something years ago, and it's kind of stuck with me. He said, their vision for their church was balanced victory
Yeah,
for the God designed life, right? And part of the reason why I mentioned that is because I think for many years the church has lacked balance.
yeah.
And so on the one hand, you have the all night tarrying sessions. Right? At the same time, it's completely off subject, right?
Do it take all night.
Yeah. But it doesn't take all night. Right. But do we have the power that we say we have? Right. It's the year I was graduating, a good friend of mine, actually my best friend, was normal. Uh, we were born the same year. This was my guy. And I was getting ready to leave for college. And my parents called me and said such and such started spazzing out, attacking his parents, just all these things. And they took him to the church. They were praying and they were slinging the oil, just all the things.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, so if you, deacon, pastor, elder, if you got the power, if you've been here tarrying, why has nothing shifted?
Yeah.
Turns out he had schizophrenia.
Yeah.
It wasn't a demon.
No.
Right?
Right.
And so here's my point, right? So on the one hand, the church can be super deep,
Super spiritual.
and super extra as it pertains to how would you start, how long we need to be in service 3 hours. Then on the flip side, you have pastors who are going to the extreme, and this is an express service. We in and out, 45 minutes, all the lights, and to some degree, like there's some arguments surrounding the lights and the camera. I was at a church years ago that was very heavy to service being a production.
Yeah.
And it did not leave room for the spirit.
Yeah.
And so I wrestled with that too.
Sure.
And so my argument has always been, okay, let's find a healthy medium.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some research that speaks to the lights, and I've seen where dimming the lights may help students feel more comfortable or help adults feel more comfortable at work. However, there's a segment of our faith who feels like, oh yeah, you're just like the club,
Like a movie theater, right? Whatever.
And so I think it's hard, and it's a hard distinction for me, because I grew up and I've worked and I've experienced all of those work.
Yes.
And my heart is just to find the balance. What are people doing that's successful? And let me chew up the meat and spit out the bone.
Yeah.
Why did that work?
Yeah. And because it worked for them doesn't mean
it's going to work for you.
And that is true.
Because not every pastor can walk in skinny jeans.
That's right.
And not every pastor can walk in a robe and a cassock.
That's right.
That's right. Not every pastor's going to holler.
That's right.
So I think that's the beauty about the body, though.
Yeah, we're not supposed to all be the same.
Sir.
I mean, we all are different, and we
different gifts, different skill sets, different things that we bring to the table.
Mentioning difference, what difference have you seen in ministry that adopt your blueprint compared to those that don't?
Well, I certainly don't want to sit here and act like my blueprint is just the end all be all.
Right, I understand.
I believe that it is an answer to a prayer for a lot of ministries.
Good.
Ministries and leaders that I've been able to consult with and have several seminars with and teach. I've gotten rave reviews about testimonies where they've seen stronger engagements when it comes to their students. They've seen more buy-in from their volunteers.
That's good.
Greater buy-in from the overall congregation because you implemented some of the tools like reshaping and reshifting your vision, or going into your space and doing an audit and simply asking the question, or asking your students, does this speak youth? Does it speak to me?
Right.
Does this ministry space say I've thought about you, or you were an afterthought? Right. So just making leaders ask those simple questions, those practical questions, have really shifted their ministries in dramatic fashion.
That's good. It's good that they're going in asking the question, because typically we as a resource would go in and say, this is what we can do. And that may not be what they need. So you need to go in and ask the questions of the need.
One of the things that I do when I go on, and it's one of the early chapters in the book. What do you have in your hand? What's
all right, Moses?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's in your hand? Because what's in your hand might not work in my hand right now. The staff that you have might not work for me.
All right.
And so, what resources do you have? What people do you have? What facility do you have?
Yes.
Is there room for growth there?
Yeah.
Do we need to think creatively on how we can make some of this stuff happen?
Yeah.
We can shift this, we can turn this, and so um that's been one of my goals when I go into consult. Hey, take these tools, take these principles, take these practices,
Mm-hmm.
apply them within your context. You don't have to be a mega ministry.
No.
Have 1,000 people in your church,
Right.
and so these same practices can apply to a small quote unquote storefront church.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of getting the principles and practice in your head.
Amen. Amen. If every youth leader in the world read your book, what's the one change you hope to see out of them?
I would say more strategic leadership.
Strategic leadership.
Yes. I find that many churches and many leaders are just shooting at the hip.
Okay. Yeah.
There's strategy
Mm-hmm.
behind your series. Not all, but a good portion of the people who actually need the help. There's no strategy behind your programming. There's no strategy behind how you pick.
So their intentional plan is not structured.
Absolutely. Everything should point back to your vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so does my space speak to my vision?
Yeah.
Does the way I've structured my service speak to the vision? Does it enhance or does it inhibit?
Mm.
Right. Do my volunteers speak my vision? Again, everything speaks.
Yeah.
And so strategic about every little piece. Like one of the things that I don't want to necessarily say hurt me when I first got started, is I was so particular. My mentor said, have fantastic attention to the details.
Okay. You're a detail guy.
I looked at everything
Mm.
as it pertains to the ministry. I had systems for how a service was going to run, down to the minute, how we were going to incorporate all our new team members.
Right.
And the problem is at the end of the day, it made it hard for me to give up the baby. Like,
Yeah.
it made it hard for me to trust other people with the baby.
Yeah.
Until I strategically developed some leaders, and spent some time with them.
Yeah.
I knew that they had the heart and the vision and the why behind some of the what.
Would you find it hard to sit in the service and not critique it?
Oh, that's me every Sunday. That's me. It's me wherever they go.
Man, I can't shake that myself.
It's so hard for preachers.
Yeah, I can't shake it, man.
Like even now, I'm looking at people's lives, their online presence, their YouTube, their social media. Again, in my head, everything's been great. Everything speaks.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. I remember years and years and years ago, and I think I went and said some of this foolishly. I remember I was interviewing for that opportunity, probably back before the pandemic, and I just told the leadership, I was like, I walked in and I saw this flaw, this flaw, and this flaw, this and this.
Pointing out. Yeah.
Point out all the things that needed to be fixed. And I think that was just one of the challenges of me being quote raised in some of the ministries.
Sure. Absolutely.
I went from a small family church to serving in one of the largest churches in the country.
Yeah.
So, there's a dramatic shift when it comes to my perspective about how things should be. It's very challenging. Yeah, that's tough.
That is very challenging. I do know that for a fact, as being a pastor, having my own congregation, and then to, be a part of another ministry and be on a pastoral team. Then I have family that has churches, PK, the things we have seen behind the closed doors, people we have helped along the way, or took advantage of the family or whatever the case, all those experience that we encounter as pastor kids, um, the stories you hear and see and, you know, the life we have to live,
Yeah.
you know?
And one of the things that it just made me think about was, and again, this is our challenges
Sure.
as leaders,
Yeah.
is you go and you're in a particular space and it's like, hey, my room is looking good. I've got it nice and neat and crisp. I'll put on this.
Yeah.
But then there's another room down the hall that's on fire.
Right, right.
And so now you leaving your room,
Who's gonna go put the fire?
go put the fire out here. And then you see another fire. And then here's the other problem. Some people don't want their fires out. Right? They like it just like it is.
Yeah, they like their room just the way it is.
That's the crux and the challenge of leadership. It's a journey.
Good.
It's a journey, especially when you like you and I and some of the leaders we've been able to serve with. You've been endowed with so much wisdom.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Let's shift a little bit. Let's talk about the relationship with T.U.R.N. How has that been for um, your ministry, or impact has it made? The partnership.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
We've been fortunate enough to do some really great work here in the city.
Yeah,
over the years.
Yes.
And
Yes, excited.
I remember when I first got an email from T.U.R.N. I think that's when we were starting the LifeWise program.
Okay. Yeah.
And we were looking at some grant opportunity to
Yeah.
help us support some of the ministry work that we're doing, trying to get students to come
Yeah.
to the church and be a part of what we're doing in that program. And because of the grant at LifeWise,
Yeah.
and you guys' support,
Mhm.
we were able to establish one of the biggest LifeWises in this city. So I think that first year we had, 90 graduates
Wow, that's good.
in our program. And so had not been for a partnership with T.U.R.N. and partnership with New Birth and us coming together and being able to do that work, that would not have led to the one community event that we were able to have. We were able to impact over 3,000 families, book banks and mental health boosts. You name it. We were able to create and establish a really amazing event that spoke to all of the needs, not just the spiritual needs.
Right.
But all the needs of people within our local community.
Yes.
And so being able to partner with Lindsay and the Lindsays and T.U.R.N. was absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was a great event. Yes, T.U.R.N. brought out their volunteer base and their church, and you guys are still doing that work today.
Yeah.
Got anything coming up this week?
Yeah, we do. We shift from August, which was the time that backpack giveaways were for the kids going back to school. We shift to October because a lot of the other communities and programs and churches are doing August time, and we felt that the kids were getting the backpack. So we was like, let's do October, and we are blessing them with hats, coats, gloves, and scarves. And all of our partners that is participating and being a resource is bringing those items. We're doing giveaways as well as Bibles and other stuff. And of course, we have the entertainment as well. We have a stage full of people praise and worship going on. We have all the carnival games, and Columbus Police Department will be there, fire department will be there. So yeah, we're gonna have a good time as always. We trying to do a mutual area, Saraga, which is the international market. So it's a great space for his business. They have restaurants on the inside, and so those who would never visit his store,
Their food.
yeah. So we partner with them in regards of the meals. So you can get a meal for $8, I believe, and we will reimburse that restaurant the money. So yeah.
I think one of the beautiful things that you said, and it kind of harks back on what we had mentioned earlier, just about the whole strategy thing.
Sure.
You seek out and you endeavor to meet a need.
Yeah.
And you saw,
Yeah.
and you had the self-awareness
Yeah.
to see that there's 1,000 churches, 1,000 companies and organizations out here giving out book bags of supplies every year.
Right.
You know why I know?
Yeah.
It's because someone would leave ours and go to that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Having the wherewithal to go and say, hey, you know what? Let's shift from what everybody else is doing
Yeah.
and create another model, another program that still meets a need, and even greater need. Hats and gloves and like scarves and and meals.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I wish more organizations and more churches
Yeah.
would think outside of the box, and be a little bit more proactive and intentional when it comes to meeting the needs of our.
Yeah, and that is our heart's desire, is to have an impact on the community spiritually, economically, and socially. So those are three areas that we kind of focus in on. And we started, as you know, started in our own backyard with our zip code, and as we moved towards the Hamilton Road and Bryce Road, and 43068 and 43227 and 4332, even Whitehall, because we have the dealership over there, so 43213. So we just, we taken the far east side and then the east side by storm, and we really want to duplicate this and hit, the other side of town as well.
The CFO of the Good Life Foundation, Ted, he said to me,
Yeah.
he said, listen, man, we want to own the 43232 zip
Yeah.
code.
Yeah.
When people think about the work that's happening within this community,
Yeah.
people think about the opportunities, not just faith-related stuff.
Right.
We want, when people think about anything that pertains to it, we want to own that. And that's what we sought out to do.
Amen.
Whether it was youth, whether it was Celebrate One and empathy issues around the country, to workforce development, we wanted to own that. And I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
You're going into all these particular commitments. We're saying, hey, I don't know about you, but T.U.R.N is going to own this zip code.
Yeah.
We're going to do this.
Yeah, Ted spoke at T.U.R.N as one of the spotlights as a speaker. So yeah, man, to have him and for you to have access to someone like him, man, it's, oh my God. I mean, I only had a few moments with him, and I seen periodically with the Eastland for Everyone. I see him periodically at those meetings, but yeah, man, I know you see him on a regular. So it's, yeah. So we're excited about all that T.U.R.N is doing, and the relationship and the partnership. Thank Bishop Clark for me as well. Every time he sees me, he reminds me meeting me when I was a young kid. So I was like, yeah, I'm growing up. I'm growing up. I'm growing up. Um, Thank First Church for all their support, and the relationship has just been great, and we look forward to our future as we advance forward. Anything else you have on your mind? I want to give you a few moments that as you was driving over here, you was like, you know what? I want to make sure I say this. I know I have some bullet points, but yet there was something on my heart I want to make sure I share. To our watching and listening audience, I'm giving you a few moments that's just great.
Yes, sir. Listen, I'll leave with this. If I came to your house for a cookout, and all you gave me was meat on a plate, you didn't give me any lettuce, no tomato, no condiments, I would think you're punking me. I would think I think something's wrong here.
Right.
That's what a lot of our churches and organizations do.
Oh, wow.
They're saying, hey, take this meat on a plate. Now, the meat is good.
Sure.
But this generation, this community, our people, they want the meat. They want Jesus. They want faith.
Yes.
They want small groups. They want faith, and they want connection. They want faith and relationship. They want faith and good worship. They want faith and all these different things, right?
Yeah.
And so what I've endeavored to do in YouthMac is to put all of that in a book. Let me give you some practical tips and tools to apply this within your particular ministry. Awesome. And so go to YouthMacBlueprint.com.
Yes.
YouthMacBlueprint.com to get your copy of the book today. And I got with me our new companion guide. And so I give you all kinds of exercises and worksheets and all kinds of tools to go with the book as well. And so both of those are going to be available on our website or in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, stores around the globe.
Wow. Congratulations again. I love the picture on the back. That was cool as well. And yeah, that's awesome. I'm proud of what you, and I use the word proud in the sense of glad and happy for you. Yes, sir. You know how people say proud.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Man, but I want to thank you for being on the show today with us. And anything I can do or in the future, you know how to reach me, man.
Sure.
We look forward to spending some more time together and excited about your future. So with that said, I want to thank everyone to watching and listening to Turn Up with Pastor Charlie. And as we would like to also say thank you to the River Radio Podcast Studio for this space that we occupy, to our visionary Bert and Stephanie Lindsay, and the Lindsay Foundation, and all our partners, our local churches and schools and 501c3s and nonprofit organization that has come along beside us and partnered with T.U.R.N, the Ultimate Resource Network. So we say thank you and God bless you.
Thank you.
All right, sir.